Hello friends, bienvenidos. My name is Jen, aka Jen Colo on social media, your local witchy friend and intuitive guide through the occult. As always, my lovely husband and co-host is David, aka Premier Pulls on social media.
Hi everyone, on today's episode, Jen explains Sagittarius.
Welcome to the show, grab a chair, make yourself at home. Jen's got stories to share, you'll never feel alone.
This Saturday, I will be in San Francisco at Infinity Coven. Always love to see my Bay Area peeps. Stop by to get a reading, book online through my link tree, or just walk in and see if you get lucky.
Those have been really fun, and you're kind of picking up steam on those, right?
Yeah, those are always good days for me. And most of them are walk-ins, but just San Francisco always has new life, new energy.
And so diverse.
And it's so diverse. I love it.
It is the prime example of you never know what's going to walk through the door, right?
Yeah, I had a dentist, a stripper, a polyamorous person asking about their 5 partners. Like,
that sounds
so
like
much fun.
like a setup to a joke.
It really does, yeah. But anyway, so for our cafe and tequila level Patreon members, our next Kythera Club meeting will be on the 24th at 10 a.m.
Yay, I'm really excited.
Yeah.
We had one this last time, and I think people are just too busy because we were just kind of waiting to see if anybody was going to show up, and I think it was just like a busy weekend.
Yeah.
But for those of you wondering, like, wait, we didn't do one. Yeah, we did one, but we were just kind of like waiting in the room for a while. But
I did university rules after 10 minutes.
Yeah,
We're gone.
I know. I still to this day don't know if that's like true or not, but they're like, if the professor's not there in 15 minutes, you can leave.
Yeah,
so.
yeah.
But yeah, we have one coming up. I don't know what the topic is going to be, but I'm sure it's going to be something super fun.
Yeah, find that information on Discord. And if you haven't joined the Patreon, maybe consider it. If you want to be part of the club.
Yeah. In the club, we're all fam.
In the Kythera Club, we're all fam. Anyway.
Awesome. Yeah, so today we're going to talk about Sagittarius.
And I know you always ask, what about me? This episode is a lot of you, so don't even worry. So Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign ruled by Jupiter. So pop quiz, since we've done a few of these, what does mutable mean?
Well, there's 2, right? There's
3.
Oh, there's 3. There's some that are like in the transition stage. There are some that are like kind of set in their place, and I don't know what the third one is.
The beginning ones. So.
Oh yes, the ones that start.
Middle, and end, basically.
Beginning, middle, end. Yeah. So this immutable is like middle, right?
No, it's the end.
Oh, the end.
Yeah, so Sagittarius season shows that we are moving from fall to winter.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So just a refresher, mutable signs transition season to season. And so mutable signs as a whole are going to be pretty adaptable, flexible, open-minded. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the symbolism of Sagittarius is the archer. So
Yeah.
see that?
Is that a it's not just an archer though. Well, I could be wrong, but isn't it like a centaur?
Yes.
A centaur, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like half human, half animal archer.
Yeah.
Yeah. And because, like I said, their planet is Jupiter. If you've heard of the trend like lucky girl syndrome, like lucky person syndrome, or Sagittarius people.
Sagittarius, yeah.
Because Jupiter is the planet of luck and abundance. So anyone that has like prominent Sagittarius placements are going to be lucky. But again, we all have Sagittarius somewhere. So if you see what part of Sagittarius is in your chart, that's where you have like the most luck.
I think it's interesting how different signs are represented, and I know I've spoken to you about this, and then you said somebody's come up with this idea, but I was like, I'm surprised nobody's made a show like of the signs, like, you know.
Yes. Okay.
You had a friend that would. Oh, go ahead.
So there was a show Eliza Kelly had, like, it looked kind of like an Adult Swim show, like
it was her,
like BoJack Horseman style.
Oh,
yeah, but it got cut, unfortunately.
Did it ever release?
It did. It had a few, I want to say like maybe 10, 20 episodes. It was really good.
And was she a consultant on it, or was she like
the producer?
the main person?
Like the main person.
Oh, I wonder what happened. That's such an interesting concept.
Yeah, it was so good. I'm very sad that Yeah, it did not last long. It was really good.
Well, maybe somebody else will pick it up.
Yeah, maybe. But yeah, let's get into it. So, some famous, infamous.
Well, before that, why don't we talk about like what the traits are and all that, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
This is true.
You're
I'm very excited to talk about famous Sagittarius people because there's one in particular. Well, at their best, they are intellectual, kind, optimistic, adventurous, honest, and independent.
And lucky.
And lucky,
Yeah.
yes. And at their worst, they can't sit still, they're blunt, they're impatient, they have commitment issues, and they're arrogant.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very polarizing. I feel like the goods are really good and the bads are really bad. I feel like a lot of our signs are like the goods are really good and the bads are like they're not too bad. They're just humanistic traits, but these seem kind of rough. So
I think that's just the trend with all fire signs. The good is good and the bad is bad because they're just fiery.
What are Leo's fire signs?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
And so are Aries, which we have not done yet, but Aries is something else.
I know we're kind of coming up on running out of signs here, huh?
I know.
Yeah.
Kind of exciting though. I love talking about them. But they are less likely to get along with earth and water because they are fire. They get along more with other fire and air signs, but they're least likely to get along with Virgo and Pisces.
Oh no, I like our Virgos.
Yeah, well, it's your rising sign. You know, it's a piece of you. So, yeah, we'll talk about it. But they get along very well, obviously, with other fire signs and specifically Aquarius for the air signs.
Okay, that makes sense.
Because Aquarius can match like their intellect, their worldview, and like a love-hate relationship would be with Gemini.
Oh, okay. Or it could be contentious, but it could lead to something.
I don't want to say necessarily contentious, but like they're both kind of flighty. They both kind of like to spread themselves thin in different ways. And it's sort of like how I mentioned Gemini, where it's like somebody decide.
Yeah.
With Sagittarius and Gemini, it's like somebody needs to be stable and sit still.
Got it.
Because both of them
They're
cannot.
flying off the walls.
Yeah, exactly.
What about in like a romantic relationship? Who would be the best sign for a Sagittarius?
Yeah, I would say maybe Aquarius or Gemini or any other fire sign.
Based on your description, though, does it? I guess apart from you said they could be loyal, right?
Oh yeah.
I guess, but apart from that, just on a descriptor, if we were to give those attributes to a person, it does sound like that's somebody who would have a very difficult time settling down.
Yes, so Sagittarius also love to like travel, Mr. Worldwide, if you will. So I feel like Sagittarius people can have fun with a lot of different dates, but once they choose their person, they choose their person.
They mate for life.
Yes.
Like penguins.
Yes, like, like penguins. Okay. Exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, just based on your descriptor, and then you just almost reassured it with like the traveling. Like it would need to take a very specific type of personality to be with a Sagittarius. Is it like exhausting or draining?
It depends on the person. If they can hang, it's basically like, are they your cup of tea? Can you hang? Like, because they are very particular. Sagittarius season starts this year on the 22nd. So again,
of November.
Yeah, of November. Yeah. So they span mid-November to mid-December. And then some famous or infamous or renowned Sagittarius, however you want to label these folks. The one I'm very excited for is Nicki Minaj.
Okay.
Just because in her song Barbie Tings, she mentions that she's a Sagittarius, and that's how I remembered.
Oh my gosh, okay.
Yeah. Sagittarius, optimist. Anyway, then we have Jay-Z.
Okay.
And for all the Swifties out there, Taylor Swift's birthday is coming up. We have Brad Pitt. We have Bruce Lee. Mark Twain. Beethoven. Walt Disney. People have mixed feelings about Walt Disney. Andrew Carnegie, that made like Carnegie Hall.
I know Carnegie.
Yeah. And then Pablo Escobar.
You know, a lot of these names are like titans in their industry.
Yeah.
What do you attribute that they're sign to those characteristics? Like, we can go through each one of these. Like Nicki Minaj, obviously I think is like probably one of the best female rappers of our generation. You know, Jay-Z also kind of on the same trend. Taylor Swift, like She's
Yeah.
just done incredible things.
So specifically with Jay-Z, so he is like all over the place with his endeavors. He had or still has like an alcohol line. What was it called? Like Spade or something?
Ace of Spades?
Yeah.
Spades? No, Ace of Spades.
I don't know. It came out before I could drink, I think. And now he has Tidal, which is like competitive to like Spotify
Or
and
Apple.
And Apple.
But to be fair, I don't even know what the app looks like. I've never heard anybody say like, I use Tidal.
I know a lot of people that use Tidal.
Oh, really?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess it's the same with the iHeart Music radio. I was like, I've never heard anybody use it, but it's like huge. Like I went to the festival and I still like didn't download the app.
Yeah. And like what's really interesting specifically about Nicki Minaj and Jay-Z, they have a lot of love for like foreign culture. Like Nicki Minaj has like I think some like Chinese tattoos on her arm, like Chinese lettering, and then Jay-Z loves Latino people.
Oh, okay.
Especially in his song Otis. I guess this is like one thing that many people might not know. I'm a big hip hop head. Like I can, go to town and like analyze a bunch of different raps and stuff. But yeah, in Jay-Z's songs Otis, he definitely shouts out like how much he loves like the Latino culture and stuff like that.
They also though shout out their like I would say their country, but like they shout out New York all the time. Like Nicki's always like, I'm from Queens, and then Jay-Z's always like repping New York. So
I think that's just a New York thing.
that might just be a New York thing, not a Sagittarius.
I mean it could be both.
Ooh.
Yeah.
You know what we should do is discuss like what signs every state would be.
Oh,
yeah,
that would be interesting. Okay, maybe as an unhinged.
That could be fun.
Write that down.
Yes.
Taylor Swift. Yeah, she's a big.
She's international.
Yeah, and also like people just love her. Like Sagittarius have this like magnetic energy where it's like I would love to be their friend.
I do feel though like Taylor Swift, much like Michael Jackson, I think their persona took on a life of their own where I don't even think like Taylor Swift the artist is the same as like Taylor Swift the person. Like you can't be at that point. At that point you're like a symbol more than anything. So and I'm not like shitting on her. I think she's great and amazing, but she's done such a good job that she's broken through just being an artist. I feel like she's become an institution basically, which is crazy.
Brad Pitt has like a wide range of talent. Like, yeah, he's just played some amazing characters. He can like,
and also adopted kids from a bunch of different countries.
Okay, I was debating. I was like, was that just Angelina Jolie? I know they were together. For a minute,
were together. Yeah,
but I don't know if he still like sees the kids on the weekends or what the deal is.
He's kind of a POS, but I don't know. I've mentioned this in the past with like celebrity gossip. I'm sure celebrities do a lot of bad things, but it's really easy to sit from behind a screen or behind a keyboard and be like, this person ain't shit. It's like you don't even know the person. So.
Well, yeah, I was also thinking about adopting kids from around the world. Bruce Lee, Mark Twain, and Beethoven, I'll talk about all of them together, but they were just very like intelligent, intellectual. Sagittarius is like the philosopher of the Zodiac. Okay. They're just very smart. Like Bruce Lee, he mastered like martial arts. Didn't he create like his own version?
Yeah.
Or like his own practice?
I think it was called Jeet Kune Do.
Yeah.
But the thing with Bruce Lee more than anything was that he kind of crossed over into America purely based on his talent in I think Hong Kong. And he was kind of the first to do it, and it just opened the way for a lot of people. And he was a big pioneer of like introducing the martial arts to like the westernized society, because I guess it was like very taboo. Like I think a lot of his own people turned on him and were like, why are you sharing like quote unquote our secrets? And he's like, no, this is for the world to know. Unfortunately, he died really young, and we talk about curses sometimes. Like he passed away, his son passed away filming The Crow, and I think he might have had a daughter that passed away. I could be wrong on that, but some generational stuff going on there for sure.
Oh man, not lucky there.
Yeah.
Live fast, die young type of, yeah. And then Mark Twain wrote a bunch of like classic Americana novels.
It was classic Americana, but I think at that time, he would have probably been considered like who am I thinking? Is it John Edwards from the Tonight Show? He was like his literature was like satire. It wasn't. I mean, now we look back and it's like, oh, that was like beautiful Americana writing, which it was, but he definitely used like words to put up a mirror to like society at the time. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then Beethoven, I mean, we know Beethoven does not need any further explanation. Walt Disney just like blew up the world, is obsessed with Disney. There's now like, there's Disneyland in LA, there's Disney World in Florida, there's like Disney Paris,
Disney Cruises.
Yeah. I can't remember the other Disneys. I think there's some other ones in like Asia and stuff, but yeah, like amazing.
That is the one thing we don't subscribe to. I know nothing against like Disney adults, because we like Pokemon, we're very parallel to Disney adults, but like we don't really like Disney much, huh?
I mean, my mom is a Disney adult. Like, she loves Disney. She won't go to Disneyland, but she likes the Disney franchise.
But we don't.
Yeah.
And I think we gave it a fair shot. I remember one time I was like, oh, let's go to Downtown Disney. And there's a lot of cool stuff, but I was like,
But I do like Disney's work, like, the classics, like Beauty and the Beast.
Yeah, we're not really like...
I'm not a fanatic.
Yeah, we're not fanatics.
I like it.
Yeah.
But I'm not like crazy about it. Carnegie, huge like philanthropist and just like wanted to put like his name on something. Yeah, Carnegie Hall. And then very, very infamous Pablo Escobar. So
yes,
he definitely was worldwide. Him and his products. But what's really interesting, sort of like counterculture or like alternative spirituality, some people believe he's a saint.
Oh yeah.
You know how there are saints in like the Catholic Church? A lot of people rock a Pablo Escobar as a saint.
Well, like his people like revere him because, I mean, obviously means don't always justify an end. I'm not saying like he did the right thing, but like, I mean, he could have just been held up with his millions, but he put on for his community, and I think he even offered to like settle Colombia's debts.
Yeah,
obviously it was for quid pro quo of like, don't send me to jail, but like still like
he had the cash.
He had it like that. So
he did have it like that. Yeah. So it's interesting because like you said, he could just flaunt his wealth and have like fuck you money, but he chose to be like a philanthropist. Yeah. Very, very interesting.
I would be very interested to studying the through line of all these people, but because like I said, these are, I mean, every time we do the signs, we do talk about like celebrities or like famous people, but this is the first time on a list where I feel like they've all been pioneers of their craft, like, or like kind of revolutionized their craft. Like Brad Pitt, like, yeah, he wasn't the first actor, but like he's such an A-lister, like he's so synonymous with like the A-list, stars. So I wonder, like, I mean, that is a commonality, is the Sagittarius side, but what makes a person like that? Yeah.
Interesting to think about, but these are like some of the more famous Sagittarius that I could think of off the top of my head.
Yeah, no, those are good ones.
Yeah. So, like I said, at their best, they're like intellectual, kind, optimistic, adventurous, honest, and independent. And at their worst, they're like blunt, impatient. Some people say they have commitment issues. I just sort of like Scorpio. I want to say that they're choosy. Except with Scorpio, I feel like, for example, let's say restaurants, like Sagittarius is like, I'll try anything once, and Scorpio's like, I already know I don't like this, so I don't care that this new restaurant popped up, like it's not worth my energy.
If I don't like it, I don't like it.
So I think that's why people think Sagittarius are flirts, because like they'll go on dates and then they may not call you back, but they're like, hey, I wanted to give it a fair shot. You don't know until you try. Honestly, Sagittarius motto.
I have like two thoughts on it. One, I guess it's more of a question, but what is the best way to communicate with a Sag? Because it seems like it would be difficult to establish good communication.
Just directly. They don't like to beat around the bush, but if you're going to say something, you also need to be ready to debate.
I was going to say, but can they take it?
Yeah,
okay.
But they're going to come back at you and want to debate it.
I see. Okay.
Yeah. So just be ready to debate if you're going to talk to a Sagittarius.
Yeah. And then we put out our lovely episode a couple episodes ago with the lovely Janet, and then we did a Unhinged with her partner. And as I'm kind of going through this profile, it seems very ADHD coded.
It is. And like, I want to start moving away from using like a diagnosis in the common language.
Yes.
Like, that's so OCD, that's so ADHD.
And we've talked about that
like
before.
I'm trying to do better in that part, because mental illness or like being neurodivergent is nothing to make light of. But that's exactly what I thought when I was preparing for this episode. I was like, this is very ADHD coded.
Yeah.
And we love Mike, Janet's partner, who I just interviewed, you know, like last episode, I want to say, or 2 episodes ago, as a Green Witch. But Sagittarius, very ADHD coded, for sure.
And I think it still pays homage to, or respect to the, you know, the diagnosis itself. We're just saying, like, it shares characteristics. I think if we keep it on that note, it should be okay.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I agree. Yeah. I had the exact same thoughts. I was talking to someone in my online coven who is a Sagittarius, and she's like, I run away from all of my problems. Like, whenever something happens, she always wants to relocate. And I actually think I did an astrocartography reading for her. She's like, my life is going to hell. Where should I move? So yeah.
Astrocartography for Sagittarius might be like a really good tool, right?
I think so, yeah.
Basically, the world is their oyster. They have no roots.
Yeah.
Is it hard for them to settle down and place roots?
Well, I was going to say shout out to, I want to say it was episode 13, our astrocartography episode. So if you haven't listened to it, definitely check it out. But astrocartography is basically your birth chart on a map. But it's interesting that you say that. So for those of you that don't know, I'm probably always saying this every other episode, but David is a Leo sun, Cancer moon, and Sagittarius rising. So when you were like, is it difficult for people to, you know, settle down and like make roots and stuff?
Yeah.
I actually wanted to use you as an example. So
perfect. Let's do it.
I'm very excited to get into that. So like I said, I wanted to use you as an example because you are a Sagittarius rising.
Perfect. And you always say that your rising is really the one that kind of characterizes you as a person?
If you had to like pick one, again, I'm not a fan of just picking one, but if you just had to pick one, I would say your rising sign
your rising
is the closest way to encompass all of you.
Yeah, and you're a Libra rising. Okay.
Yeah. Fun fact, when I found out that you were a Sagittarius rising, I was making fun of you, calling you a Sagittarius, because that's what people say about Sagittarius, just because they have like so much energy. But one of the...
okay, let me start. Sorry, I hate to interrupt, but actually let me tell you the story of the first time I was privy to my Sagittarius tendencies, and you use that term. We were moving, and there was a lot to do, and we had to paint like a whole room. And for everybody who's moved, you know how chaotic it is. Like those weeks leading up to the move, you're basically living in pure chaos because everything's in boxes and you're trying to clean and organize. I don't need to explain the process of moving. But we were kind of coming up on the deadline, and I was like, I'm running out of time. So I think one of the days, I woke up at like 4 a.m. and straight up just started painting a room. And she was obviously sleeping, and she could hear the chaos. And she's like, what are you doing? And the next morning I was like, oh, well, we just got to get it done. So I just got up and started painting. And she's like, you're such a Sagittarius.
It's just like waking up with the energy of a million suns, just like, what are we going to do right now? And it's like, for me, my brain is loading. I'm coming from the other dimension. It's like, you got to give me time to get back in my body. So yeah, very like Sagittarius of you to start painting a room at 4 a.m. But yeah. Anyway, as I was reflecting on Sagittarius and just how sometimes they physically cannot sit still and sometimes they cannot establish roots. I remember when we first started dating, and also I think this also came up when we were buying a house, you were like, it's weird for me to live somewhere more than 4 years. I don't know if I feel comfortable with that, or like if I can see my life where I'm somewhere more than like 4 years. Yeah, which I thought was very interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously, I mean, growing up, you kind of do stay in one spot just because you don't really have a choice over it.
But you did.
But even then, I was going to say, even then, like, I grew up, or I was born in LA. I think I was only there until I was like 2 or 3. Then we moved to a little city called Morro Bay. I was there for like a year or 2. And then, like, most of my growing up, I did do in San Luis Obispo, which I consider my hometown. So I always like, that's kind of, or like, oh, where'd you grow up? I'm like, San Luis Obispo. Which was, I mean, most of like elementary and high school. But then in there was a couple years I lived in Mexico. So I've always kind of been moving, which it only has hit me more recently in my life. I would say, I'm in my like kind of mid 30s. I would say more to like late to mid 20s is when I was like, damn, I've never really stayed anywhere. I met you when I was 25. So after high school, I was 17 and I moved to
Santa Barbara.
To Santa Barbara, yeah. And when we moved to Merced, which is almost, I was in Santa Barbara in 2009. So how many years?
11 years later.
It's more than 11 years. To
12.
To 2024? Yeah, right?
Wait, no, we moved in 2021.
2021. Yeah. Okay, so like 11, let's say 11 years later. I hadn't stayed in a spot. So I went from like Santa Barbara, then I went to San Francisco, then I went back to San Luis Obispo, then to LA.
And then Santa Maria.
And then we went to Merced. Yeah. So basically, since I've been an adult, I've never been in one stable spot. And the thought process was like, well, we're buying a house. Like, for sure, this is where you're going to do roots. And I will say I'm very comfortable. But even as we were doing it, it was always like, not what the next move is, but I feel like I can never feel anchored to a location. I always feel like if there's an opportunity, like, I'm going to take it.
Yeah. I mean, we've talked about like moving to the Bay and just renting our house or like getting a condo back in the coast. Like, I don't know. We're always open.
Yeah, like nothing to me, like, and not just like living, but in this world, like nothing is permanent. I feel like, even our existence is very fleeting sometimes.
Yeah, so you are a Sagittarius rising. That means that like your first house and also like your worldview, how you view yourself, how you intake information, very Sagittarius coded. And I feel like it's why this podcast works, because you're willing to listen to anything once, but you always have questions. Very Sagittarius coded.
So that's where that dynamic could come from. Okay.
I think so.
And what else is?
Well, you don't have any planets there, but I just think that, it's interesting that, you're just very Sagittarius coded. But for me specifically, I'm a Sagittarius in my 3rd house.
Wait, sorry. Real quick before you move on. You had mentioned at the beginning of the episode we're going to talk about like fortune and where does fortune lie in your house for Sagittarius. So where would my fortune be? Or my good luck?
So there are a few different markers, but I would say one of them is where Sagittarius is in your chart, and that's sort of like where you maybe need like less development compared to other areas of your chart. And for you, because it's your first house, you've always had good self-confidence, and that's not just also being Leo, but I feel like being a Leo on top of being a Sagittarius rising. A lot. Yeah, you've never
overkill.
You've never lacked confidence.
Okay.
So I feel like you understand yourself very well. You could be your own therapist. Like you know.
I don't advise that though.
You don't.
I'm not my own therapist, and for the people out there who are like, oh yeah, I got this. And that's never the answer.
But you also don't open up. You like sort of philosophize within yourself and figure out what to do with yourself. But anyway, so for you specifically, I think that's
kind of where the fortune is.
Yeah. So for me, my 3rd house is in Sagittarius because I am a Libra rising. So 3rd house is the house of communication. It's also K through 12, and just education in general. So within my 3rd house, controlled by Sagittarius, I have Jupiter there, and Jupiter is at home. So that means my Jupiter is going to be more effective because I was born with Jupiter in Sagittarius. I also have my part of fortune there, which is another lucky point. So I have luck on luck on luck. Plus Juno, we talked about asteroids. Shout out to our asteroid episode. My Juno asteroid is there, which is the marriage asteroid. If you think about like Greek mythology and stuff. So Juno, aka Hera, which is Zeus's wife, and she controls like the house, the home, marriage, and fertility. And I just think it's very interesting that the clue there was like you're gonna get married to someone with a lot of like Sagittarius placements and tendencies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh.
So it's funny, that's how it manifested for me. So I a little bit off tangent, but I guess if you want to see like maybe a little clue into who your partner might be, maybe look for your Juno. But yeah, how that manifested for me, I want to say having a Sagittarius third house plus Jupiter plus part of fortune, I was always really good at school. I was always very intelligent, and my writing specifically has made me a lot of money. So I got a full ride scholarship to college based off of an essay that I kind of BS'd. It was honest, it was who I am, but I didn't put a lot of thought into it. I was just like, I've got this, submit. And to get 4 years of college, plus a dorm, plus, you know, like all of the extra things that come with it, I probably made $250,000 in terms of value off of one essay.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
If ChatGPT was an essay, a sign, would they be a Sagittarius?
Oh God, I don't know, because they're not like philosophizing anything, they're just spitting it out.
That's true. Yeah.
I think they might be more like Virgo, just organizing info and giving it to you when you need it. But
okay.
yeah, so that's how it manifested for me. And then with the part of fortune, it basically tells me that my moneymaker, or how I am going to accumulate wealth, is by studying. And it's really interesting how that has manifested recently in terms of like studying astrology, because with astrology, it's not like you go from start to finish and you're done. It's like a lifelong study.
There's always something to learn or discover.
There's always something to learn. There's always something to analyze. So I also feel like that makes me a really good astrologer as well.
Yeah, and I think, I don't have any fear that we're ever going to run out of topics, but I know we talked about like what's going to happen when we run out of the signs, right? Because we go through just 12 signs, and you're like, oh, we could do this for years. Because what you were mentioning a couple different things, right? Like,
I mean, since we're talking about it, I was not going to bring this up until our Taurus episode, but y'all let us know early. Like, once we get through all of the signs, the last sign being Taurus, this is an overview. I was thinking of maybe doing like another series, like going into the signs, but as moon signs. So that way, like, for example, we started with Gemini. So once we conclude with Taurus, maybe starting to do like Gemini moon. What does it mean if you're born with a Gemini moon, and then Cancer moon, and then Leo moon, etc.? Let us know if you would want us to continue the cycle.
Our listeners are going to be so well-rounded and totally understand themselves. It's going to be great.
Yeah, I was debating. I'm like, I don't know if I want to do that. I think people...
But I think just the concept, like you mentioned your education and how your fortune comes from there. Like, you have no lack of ideas, continuing education, progress, learning. And like you said, that's what brings you fortune. That's where your luck is. And you've been able to kind of foster it and really grow and learn from it. Right?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, we're not making a lot of money off of this yet. But I feel like if we stick to it, like, we could make this a full-time thing.
Yeah, I mean, for sure. I think that's always something that's in the realm of possibility. But it's like that preparedness of being set up for success. And I think that's where you shine. And, we're kind of staying on topic with the Sagittarius. Like, as you paint it, like, these are the things that will make me a successful person in whatever category, it is. And you've just been able to leverage that, which is great. And with me, with the Sagittarius, and kind of going back, I think that is why we do make a good balance. You're kind of the person that might map it out, and I'm the person that will hit the gas and say, let's start our journey.
Yeah, I agree.
Because I was talking to somebody earlier, and they were asking me, like, how's the podcast going? How are things, progressing? And I said, honestly, it's great. And I always go back to this. I say the first thing is, like, you just got to start.
Yep.
Because... And I'm a victim of it too. I think everybody's a victim of it. But sometimes you can get so lost in the planning and the what ifs that you never take that first step. And we're very fortunate, I think, because we have each other. I know some people may not have a partner, or they just do it on their own, and like, more power to them. But when they say, like, it takes a community, like, the more the merrier, like, all those cliches are so true, because there are things, and this is again a great episode because we're kind of highlighting our strengths and kind of where we pick each other up. But one of the great things about us is like, I feel like you always have the roadmap, and you always are the cautious one who says, like, this could happen, but if we go this route. But at the same time, I've always, not always, but I've had sometimes be like, hey, I get what you're saying, but if we don't go for it, we're just going to be spinning our wheels. So,
very true.
We do balance each other out, and I guess this is the first sign where I've noticed that our Sagittarius placements do complement each other. Mm-hmm. Right?
Yeah.
Or what do you not even our Leo placements. I feel like we just got lucky because our Leo's vibe, but our Sagittarius signs really are like puzzle pieces that fit together. They're not the same, but they work.
And again, just because like Sagittarius is your first house in your rising, I feel like that makes you the visionary and the dreamer. Like, you've always been like, what's holding us back from achieving our dreams? So yeah, Sagittarius, definitely see where that is in your chart and how it manifests. And if you have any questions, I would love to help you understand, you know, what your Sagittarius is inside.
Yeah.
But let's hear from an actual Sagittarius sun. We got a comment from Mike,
exciting.
Janet's fiance. He gave me a whole essay, which he's usually like a man of few words unless he's like roasting somebody, so I love this. But he says, I don't like the stereotype that Sagittarius is labeled as a hoe.
That's okay. I'm glad he said that, because that's what I was kind of alluding to earlier when I was like, it's not like they're just gonna go about and discover the world, and relationships aren't super important.
I mean, okay, going back to you. So I was your first serious girlfriend, the only person you've ever brought home.
Yes.
But you did date a lot of people. I was not your first girlfriend. So
Yeah.
I
guess that's true. Is that what you're saying about the Sagittarius?
Yeah,
People,
so like, were you a hoe? No, but
Yeah.
like you dated around until you were like, this is my person.
This is what I chose.
Hello.
Hi, everyone.
Hi, everybody. Anyway, so Mike says, don't call me a hoe, because Sagittarius is not. We love hard and we could be faithful as hell, but only to those that can truly handle being with us, which is exactly what I said earlier. Yes, we like our freedom, but we also love to be loved as a fire sign. Absolutely. Don't screw a Sagittarius over, because you will not like the outcome.
Hey.
No, it's true. It's true. Yeah.
He's like, that's not a threat. It's a promise.
We can definitely turn anywhere into a party, and you will have a great experience. Going on adventures to new places is a must. We will definitely try anything once. Don't argue with us, because we will hurt your feelings with facts and receipts. And finally, we love to have fun.
That's a well-rounded person.
Yeah.
I think I started with a certain mentality of Sagittarius, but like all the signs, I think at the end of the day, we're just humans, and you know, all these traits are very like human in nature, and it's just nice to put labels to it when it comes to like the cosmos. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So, speaking of Sagittarius, we have Mercury retrograde coming up in Sagittarius.
Again?
Yeah.
I almost feel like I wish I wouldn't have learned about Mercury retrograde, because I feel like we're always in it, or now like I know it's coming. It's so true when they say like ignorance is bliss. So thank you for breaking that for me. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. So next week's topic will be Mercury retrograde and relationships.
I'm excited.
Me
I think
too.
we have a lot to say on that.
It's gonna get messy. No, I'm kidding.
It might. It's fine. Listen, what do we say? Like, this is for entertainment purposes.
Yes.
We're gonna bring the entertainment for sure.
Absolutely. So again, if you would like to get a hold of us or schedule an appointment, get a reading, send us some memes, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube at Jen Kahlo and jenkahlo.com.
Yeah, and I know we plug it, but truly from like bottom of my heart, the Discord is so fun. You will crack up. You will, it's very wholesome too. We'll go from like just kind of roasting each other a little bit to like this life event happened. I mean, it's quickly picking up steam. So if you haven't joined the Discord, check it out if you can. It's really, really fun.
Yes. Very well said. I love our community. I love the inside jokes that we have. And yeah, it's a good time. So consider joining the Kythera Club if you'd like to.
And if people want to kind of book you for a consultation or learn more about you, how can they get a hold of you?
Like I mentioned earlier.
Oh.
Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, at Jen Kahlo and JenKahlo.com.
And if people... No, I'm just kidding.
This is the one thing about Sagittarius. Y'all need to pay attention.
Well, we did have a little bit of a technical snafu. As you can see, like, I don't have my laptop in front of me. And that's kind of what keeps me, like, oriented. So I did struggle a little bit today. Just kind of, like... I was going to say... raw dogging it, but that's
God,
the best term. Yeah, let's just say there's procedures in place for things, but that's fine. I was like, you're like, do you want your laptop for this episode? I was like, nah, I'll be all right. Clearly a mistake. So
all good.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for listening, watching, and listening. I keep forgetting we're like recording, just because we did almost a whole year of just audio. So I don't know what to say now. Do people listen? Do people watch? Thank you for engaging in our content.
Yes, absolutely. And remember, the magic within you makes the world a more beautiful place. Blessed be, and signing off. Bye.